Good morning. So happy Tuesday. Today we have Sara with us, who is the Chief Diversity and Inclusion Officer at Omnicom Media Group, which is a very big company. So Sara specifically focuses on understanding how differences can bring in the best in different companies, which is why she is so focused on inclusivity, which is something that's so important because a lot of companies claim that they have a very diverse workforce. But when you actually go into those companies, you see, okay, these are mostly white-centric people. What's going on there? So Sara specifically helps to cater to this problem. Let's welcome Sara on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom, where she is also the podcast and the founder and the host of the podcast called Here as Roar Podcast, which specifically focuses on the journey of Asian women, of transforming their journey and specifically helping them in just sharing their amazing journey with people. Let's welcome Sara on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom. Hi Sara, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good, Manal. How are you? And thank you for allowing me to share my journey with your audience and creating this wonderful platform.
Thank you so much for coming on the show with us, Sara. So, Sara,
Anytime.
Can you tell us about how you ended up at this company, your journey so far?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know it's a 10-minute show, and my journey so far is a very long one. But I actually am an immigrant from China. I came to the US when I was 8 years old. Was a R&B musician for 15 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Took some time off my senior year of college, before college, or my senior year of high school as well as before college, and then had been working on my music career simultaneously as I stepped foot into media and advertising as well. And I'm definitely a loyalist because OMG, which is one of the Omnicom Media Group companies, is where I launched my career right after college. So I did take a little bit of a hiatus, moved to Hawaii for about 6 months, shot some music videos, did some short films, just focused on myself, but then, shifted to a different agency and then came back. And so OMG, Omnicom Media Group, really has been my home for most of my professional life. And so it's natural that, and I love the fact that it sort of brought my two worlds together. So when I was still working at OMD, I focused much more on media strategy and investment. But because I have been, and I didn't even realize this on the way to the journey, but I've been such an advocate of people allowing their voices to be heard, those that are typically underserved and people that feel like maybe their voices aren't shining as loudly internally and in a corporate setting. And so being able to sort of combine that ability to champion diversity, equity, and inclusion, which often comes with a B as well, DEIB and belonging, along with sort of taking with me some of my knowledge and know-how from a media and advertising standpoint, has been really amazing. So that I now feel finally like a whole person, now having this role as diversity and inclusion officer at Omnicom Media Group. So I do touch a lot of what it is that we do and evolve from a people and culture standpoint, but again, bringing with me some of that background in terms of investment and strategy so that I'm able to merge our people and culture with what it is that we're putting out into the marketplace and how we're serving our clients.
Let me first just say I am so inspired by your journey. Did not think it was going to was working as a musician, going to Hawaii and shooting some music videos. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I like how you took time out for yourself specifically, because I think so many people get so involved in the race towards becoming successful, but you decided to pursue something that you were passionate about. You decided to take time out for yourself. So kudos to you for actually being an inspiration, specifically for Asian women, because I think so many Asian women are so scared to take that step. And you managed to do so, and you're working at OMG, which is such an amazing company. So I'm inspired. I definitely admire you. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah,
so
no
Sara,
problem.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that I think you touched on such an interesting point, because so many of us are facing burnout these days that we don't even want to go back into the job market. And so I encourage everyone to take a little time off, even if it's like a long weekend.
And how did you decide? Just curious, how did you decide that you wanted to take a time, like when that you decided that you wanted to take some time off from work? Because I think so many of us actually reach that tipping point where it's too late to take that small break. So when was the time you realized that, okay, I need to get away, I need to take some time for myself and just chill?
Honestly, I think, the more bold we are, the more we stretch ourselves, the more we have faith that we can bounce back. And I've taken that to various degrees, whether it's through my music career or through my yoga and meditation practices. I think one of the hardest things I've ever done is a 10-day silent meditation where there was no technology, no eye contact. You sit there and
Wow.
meditate for 10 and a half hours a day for 10 days. And I feel like the more you sort of spend that time stretching as a rubber band, you know that you can bounce back. And so I think, all those things, being adventurous has given me the courage, but also sort of like the self-understanding to acknowledge I need some time off. I mean, it's literally
Wow.
as simple as that. Like, I'm tired. I would not be happy if I kept going. And joy is really important to me and should be important to everyone. So that's why I just decided to make that personal decision.
Definitely an inspiration to me, Sarah. Thank you for sharing that. But
Sure.
I'd love to hear, how did you end up at OMG? Like, how was your journey? What was the process like for you to onboard with such an amazing company?
Yeah, so I had always been a hand raiser when I was working at OMD. Even though my 9 to 5 was again very focused on client work, strategy, and investment, I loved bringing more of myself to work, and that meant sharing nonprofits, the names and ideals behind certain nonprofits that we could all tap into and volunteer as a group for, bringing certain cultural celebrations into the organization that maybe we didn't spotlight in the past. And so, I initially joined what was called our culture club, started to lead our sort of wellness division within that culture club, and then ultimately just kind of took over. And because I had always been such a hand raiser, and honestly, Manal, it was hard work, but it gave me a lot of fulfillment. When it was time for OMD to hire somebody to take on the D&I lead position, I was, already doing a lot of the work. So it seemed like I was a natural fit. And then, as the years progressed and I got a bit more experience, the position that I currently have now at Omnicom Media Group opened up. And so, I had to be front of the line for that one. And thankfully, they had as much faith in me as they do today. And so I was able to land that role, and I couldn't be happier.
I'm so happy it worked out for you, because I think there's always this saying that sometimes you can see pieces being all scattered, but when you usually look back, you can see all the pieces fitting together and you realize how and why it worked out. And that's definitely the case with you, because I don't think anyone would have been a better fit, because you knew the ins and outs of the company. You had been working with the company. You were bringing in nonprofit organizations. So, I mean, they definitely knew you would be the ideal fit for the role, and you definitely got that position. And I'm more than happy that you actually did get that position. So thank
Well,
you for
you're
sharing
you're
that.
much too complimentary, so thank you.
Thank you for sharing that beautiful journey. The last question, Sarah, would be that is OMG growing? What kind of positions are open with your company, and like what are some of the qualities that people like the company looks for when people are actually applying for jobs?
Yeah, I would say we're always looking. I think that the job market is wide open right now. There's a lot of roles that we're hiring for. Thankfully, knock on wood, we're getting a lot of new clients that we're onboarding as well, which means even more open roles across most of the brands and agencies underneath the Omnicom Media Group umbrella. And I would say that, as much as I can talk about the things that we're looking for in new candidates, it's also important that it's a really good fit for the candidates as well. We are constantly trying to improve ourselves from a flexibility standpoint, from a workplace mentorship and learning and development standpoint. We really want to connect with and cater to our employees. And so I think it's a two-way street. So someone who wants to be a part of the organization as much as as it makes sense for them, as much as we want them to be a part of our community. And so I think part of that, it just means doing your homework, understanding what is OMG's corporate culture, listening to podcasts like this one to get a better feel for what it is that the community is about, that the leaders are trying to accomplish and what they're looking for. That's first and foremost. I would also say come with an opinion. This is a very creative industry. And so it's great when we ask you a question and you have an opinion on, what's overrated in social media right now, let's say, or like what's a really powerful campaign that you've seen recently. Those are all great sort of aspects to tackle, especially as an entry-level candidate and even mid and more senior tiered candidate. But I would say as the D&I lead, really bring your personal opinions and perspectives to work. I think that it's easy to play safe, but no one truly sparks anything revolutionary by being safe. And we want to spark innovation. We want to spark inspiration, and that has to happen within an individual before it can happen for a client or a brand or a campaign. And so, I really appreciate people that have non-traditional backgrounds, but come in confident that they have something unique to bring to the table, and they're willing to share with me how that's going to truly fit into enriching our community.
Well, I can see why you're this DE&I officer, specifically because I think so much of it is ingrained regarding differences. And I think your personality is so important because you just don't want to be another employee with the same personality added to the same company, because that's just a waste of resources. So
Oh
showcasing
yeah.
your opinion, showcasing your personality is something that's so important. But the last thing that I would say was, Sarah, you're definitely an asset to the company. I'm pretty sure the company will go far with an individual like you, because I can see how passionate you are about bringing differences to the plate and how passionate you are about taking OMG to the next level. So thank you so much for coming on the show and showcasing your journey with us.
And I love how passionate you are speaking to your guests and speaking about this topic. So thank you.
Thank you so much.